Hello students, Michael Sanchez here. Welcome to lesson 3 of our 5-part series on how to play the violin at the intermediate advanced level. Have with us today Sara. Sara's been my student for a couple years now, and she's in the St. Cecilia Music Society Orchestra, and she really enjoys playing. She's actually playing in a wedding here pretty soon, which is pretty cool. So Sara's actually going to play a scale for us. She's going to play the F major scale. I'm going to give her some tips, some advice on some things that she can improve on. And then we're actually going to play a dramatic story, part B. As you know, in part A, we did in lesson 2 with Danny. So let's go ahead and start with our F major scale today. We already tuned up, so make sure that you're in tune before you start. Good job. All right, I like your pace of the notes. It's very, very good. Good vibrato, like how you're doing that as well. So one thing we've been working on in the lessons, having our elbow lower on the E string. So go ahead and put your elbow down where you should be on the E. So it's a little bit lower. Looks good. And then just really try to work on extending. So a lot of times what students do is they use too much arm, so they're kind of like this when coming out. But it should be more like this with more of a wrist bend. Go ahead and just play open E string. Just kind of play back and forth. Good. And what I suggest to students is even to use like a wall and just kind of restrict their arm from going backwards. That's one way to do it. But a lot of it is just using that wrist. So one thing we can do, actually, remember Sara, when we first started taking lessons, we had you balance a coin on your wrist. So at every point, you try to balance a coin or any sort of object on your wrist. And if you're not doing it correctly, the coin or the object is going to fall down because now it's not on a level plane. So it should be always like this. So that's one thing you can work on. Good. Okay, also your intonation was pretty good, but in 5th position coming down to 1st, we were a little bit pitchy. So what I want you to really think about is that thumb position. So when we go from 5th, our thumb is here. We go to 1st, our thumb is here, right? So instead of trying to land that B flat, try to really think about that thumb coming back. So go ahead and start in 5th position, and then I want you to freeze, and I want to see where your thumb is. Good. So you can see here, she has a sticker right there where her first finger is supposed to go. Notice how it's not quite level with the sticker. So that would be more correct, right? Now because of that, we were just a little bit out of tune with that B flat. And actually it shows with where your 4 is. See that? Mm-hmm. So you want to be a little farther down. Try it again and see if you can land that thumb. That's better. Good. Something to work on. So I'd say those two things. Work on the elbow. Work on the wrist drill. Keep the wrist a little more straight. And then your thumb shifting back to 1st position. Very good. Intonation was great though. Vibrato was great. She does that very well. All right, let's go to a dramatic story and let's do part B. So, and actually one thing that Sara's been doing a lot lately that's been really helping our rhythm is working with a metronome. So this is Sara's metronome that she has. There's lots of different ones out there. This one does the job. It has different settings for different tempo markings. So we're actually going to be working at 72 quarter note today. And really try to notice how Sara's playing all those quarter notes right on the clicks. Okay? Hopefully, right? All right, so hopefully you can hear that click, that beat. So it's like that. All right, let's hear the dramatic story part B. a few things to think about, to work on. So starting at the beginning, we didn't have that exact rhythm right down. Part of it is where you're nervous maybe.
Yeah.
But one thing we can do to kind of really work on this, because obviously when you play in front of people, you're always going to be a little bit nervous, right? So it's a good habit to get into to start tapping your foot. So let's actually turn the metronome on again. So here's the beat, right? So actually, let's try to tap our foot to that. So when we start the piece, we really have a sense of that beat. So 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2. Like that. Okay. Another thing with the rhythm that I noticed is in measure 53, we have how many beats rest there?
4.
Actually, it's 3. Quarter note with a half rest. So because we weren't maybe thinking of the beat, the rhythm, we rushed into measure 54. So if we were to play that with a duet, you would be a little bit ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really watch those rests. Good. Your double stop in measure 35 was pretty good, but one thing we need to do there is use a little bit more index finger. Okay, so if we don't use index, we're going to get a little bit of the sound. But now if we use the index to really dig down into the string, so really try to use that. Now don't use the rest of the fingers, don't use these ones or the arm or the shoulder to do that, but just this front finger. Go ahead and try the double stop in measure 35. Good, and the bottom part of that, try to get the A and the E string together. Hey, that sounded better. And use a little vibrato too. So I noticed actually you didn't use a lot of vibrato on the piece, like you did in the scale. So always try to use vibrato on the longer notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And the next thing would be just a little more dynamics. So like the beginning softer, but then once we hit measure 36, very loud, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Lots of good stuff though. Very, very good. So definitely work on counting. I think at this point, students out there, everybody's at a different level. So maybe some of you have never used the metronome before. Maybe some of you have always used the metronome but didn't always maybe apply it to certain specific parts. So start to work on it with the rest. Start to work on it with longer notes. That's really good. So actually one particular app that I have on my iPhone, it's called the Pro Metronome app. It's for iPhone. It's a free app and it works just everything that you need in a metronome will be on there. So you can put this particular piece at 72 quarter note, which would be great. So, but there's quite a few other things that you can work on in this piece: dynamics, double stops, intonation. This particular piece is in G, right, Sarah? 1 sharp. So this is very good for that. And then in this next part of this video, I'm actually going to play it, and also there'll be a part for the duet. And now I'm going to play a dramatic story from top to bottom, not too fast for you guys. So you guys can follow along at home. Now I'm going to play the duet of Dramatic Story, Part B, from top to bottom, and I'll make sure to yell out the measure numbers for you guys. Enjoy. Measure 31. 1, 2, ready, go. 36. 40. 44. 50. 54. 60. 67. 'So hope you guys enjoyed, and in lesson 4 we're going to be learning some new stuff as well. So hope you guys have a good day.